Hi, welcome to the Liberating Effect. I'm Michelle Overstreet, founder and CEO at my house, and I'm here with the Rabbi Mendy Greenberg, our local rabbi, much loved, and Isaac Smoldon, the communications director here at my house. And we are talking about the book Letters for Life, written by Levi Shmotkin. And this project was started when Levi came for a book signing, and the rabbi brought me a copy of the book and asked me if I might speak about it for a few minutes. And I read the book and was just blown away with the wisdom and the care with which it's written, but also the practical lessons for life. And I've said this before, but one of the things I like the most is that the letters from the rabbi that the book is written around never says, here's how you solve your problem. He tells you to go and do things. And when you go and do things, the things that you do become the solution. And I just feel like that is so useful.
Shall we start with our blessing? I may ask Rabbi Mendy to pass that over to me.
Sure. This is the rabbi's not invention, but strategy for reminding us to say thank you before and after.
That's right. And this was the Rebbe, the one who the letters are, who this book is really from. He always stressed the importance of giving charity at all the time, even if it's little amounts. And one of the ways, that's one way of showing gratitude to God Almighty for all the blessings we have, for prayer, that things should go the way how it should, right? We worry about God's creation, so God should worry more about us and pray for us. So, so that's one of the things we do here.
And I put mine in before we started. Okay. I'm not cheesing out.
That's right.
I promise.
I saw that, so.
Yeah. I have witnesses. Yeah.
I was saying right before we hit record that every recording that we have done, it seems like, especially the last couple of weeks, manages to deal directly with something that I have been struggling with that day. And today we're talking about bad moods. and I could probably go back a couple of chapters and realize that maybe I have not been getting quite enough sleep recently. I have not been practicing my healthy habits.
Burning the candle at both ends.
And so this is, but I will also say that before we started, we had the opportunity to go participate in supper club with our clients and the folks that brought in the meal today. And there was a lot of gratitude. There was a lot of happiness and joy. And that is even in kind of the middle of all the other stuff that we're working on today that has been difficult. We speaking of going and doing something, we got to go do something that I think combated the funk that at least I was in earlier this morning.
Yeah, we broke bread with our clients, which we do every day at 3:00. And we're joined by some staff from the Matsu Health Foundation that brought the food. And it was just joyful. I think, whenever you gather people around a table and share a meal, and there's love, right? There's love in that. So it's one of my favorite things. I try to always leave my schedule open at 3:00 so that I can join the clients and visit with them and just share that love. It's important for them to know that we care about them and we want them to be successful, and food is such a nice way of sharing. So
it's beautiful. And actually, to continue what Isaac said, I have my own experience of today. I just got back. I got back from New York last night. From being there, I left Alaska Tuesday afternoon last week.
Wow.
And I was there for basically almost 6 days, almost a week. And I was there for an international conference of Chabad rabbis, emissaries of the Rebbe, who this book is really based on. And it was literally like it was like children in a candy store. I mean, it was amazing. It was paradise. Gathering together and inspiring each other. Being in such an environment of so many people that are all dedicated dedicated their lives to continue the teachings that we're studying in this book here. So each person over there was like a living, walking, talking letters of life. So it was really, really, it was amazing. And then, when you come back to real life, and I texted just a little bit ago Isaac, and he said, we could always do it tomorrow. And that moment I was like, maybe I should turn back home and just do it tomorrow. I'm like, no. That's not the message of this book. Get back to things.
Right.
Go right away, start doing something positive for others, and then it'll be better. It'll be more positive and more uplifting for yourself.
Yeah, this is how we change the world.
That's right.
One thing at a time.
Yes.
That's right.
So early in this chapter, there is so many stories talk about folks that are escaping, particularly like the Soviet crackdowns in the 20s and 30s, and so many people have those lived experiences of coming to the U.S. from this background of persecution and intense trauma, and I think that it, to me, it's never surprising that people are struggling when they have this background, and it's also a good reminder for our own life to remember those blessings that we have. But this is an idea that I think we've danced around but never really stated. Every person is a changing being and therefore also experiences changes in their state of mind. However, this shouldn't be perceived too severely, as your unpleasant state of mind is only a transient phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was, I had read this before what we just did, but I now am thinking about, 2 hours ago, I was so upset and so frustrated, and I feel so joyful right now. And maybe I would have done well to remember that when I was in the middle of that frustration, that it is not a permanent state of mind. And now that I am joyful and feeling more gratitude in here in this moment, I also need to remember that this isn't forever, but this is not at all related to our community here, but this is how I relate to it, because I have played hockey my whole life. I work for the Wolverines. I'm going to use a hockey analogy because that's how I relate back to this. Every hockey coach has these, they have these expressions. That's their default. They always go back to it. It's just a hockey guy saying. One of them is, you can't get too high, you can't get too low, which basically just means when things are going well, you have to remember that, the game's not over yet. And when things aren't going well, you have to remember that you can always still come back. You're never out of this. You're still here. You can't let that stop you from going out and playing hard next shift. And we make fun of that on the broadcast all the time because it said so much. But I didn't have the opportunity to reframe that when I first read through this. That immediately is what I thought. What this is really saying is, you can't get too high, you can't get too low, because the game's not over yet. You're still here for a purpose, and you have to go out and try your hardest every shift.
That is
Nice.
beautiful. Yes, thank you.
Nice.
Yes, that's a very and it's amazing how you saw that. Yeah, actually, when I was reading through this, I'm like thinking, what will be really. How could I frame this? How could I bring this out? But I think you said it the best. Yeah, that's really beautiful. And yeah, that's what's so so many times, I guess, like you're saying, when you're in a bad mood, we kind of like, oh, you get upset. Why? Things were going so well till, a day ago, till this morning or till this afternoon, and I was having a great day until that happened, or whether something externally or some bad feeling that arose inside us, and we think it's like all over. And it's good to remember, like, things are going to, just like this came, it's also going to go. Our mind, and it gave an explanation about the fact that, a deeper esoteric explanation, but the concept that every human being possesses many different aspects. We have the kindness aspect, we have the judgment aspect, and we have them both inside us. They're both real, they're both authentic. And therefore, because we have different feelings, we have different forces inside us, it's going to have an impact on our moods. Sometimes we're going to feel more happier, more uplifted, more inspired, and sometimes we're going to feel more sadder or not in the mood. And don't get carried away with that. Just accept that. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not in a great mood right now. That's fine.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like this word, and I don't know how to say it. I'm probably going to butcher it. So, Rabbi, it's the bitachon?
Bitachon. That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I like that word.
Okay.
The bitachon means trust in God. And trust is different from that feeling of love or awe towards God. It is that absolute reliance on God for peace of mind.
Yes.
And I think that's something, and it says the essence of bitachon
Bitachon.
is the emotional calm of the one who trusts. Their heart relies on the one they trust to do what is good and proper for them. And I think that's so powerful, because I'm in a position where I'm always feeling like I'm supposed to be doing like the next right thing, right? What's the next right thing? What's the decision to make? Some of the things that we've been worrying about, today and this week. What's the answer? What's the solution? You know what the solution is? Bitachon.
That's right.
That's the answer. And so I have lots of things about this chapter that I really loved, but acknowledging that we are not always in control, and that the events in my life are not always under my control, and that the nature of goodness is to do good, that God loves me and cares for me, and that if I continue to do good, I may not know what the future might bring, but I don't need to be fearful or anxious. I am in good hands. And I think there's just a piece of that for me that I have to just rest in and acknowledge, I think when you experience great loss, you really have to acknowledge that you are not in control, and that the forces that are greater than you will care for you. You have to have some kind of faith. I don't know what people do that don't have that,
right,
because I would implode. It would not be good. But I really love that the bitachon.
That's right.
Am I saying it right?
He's getting it's pretty good. Yes, it's a hard one.
It's a hard one. So I like that word, and I think that's going to be a good reminder for me. And it's really a tribute to your faith that you have words, specific words, to describe a concept. It's not describing an action or a thing. It's a spiritual construct.
That's right.
And that's very powerful.
Yeah. And I think what your point is that we have to do what we have to do. So sometimes people could take bitachon as just to sit back and do nothing and let everything. No, it's that we should be active, but don't let the stress of what's going to be the results take you. There's no reason why we should be stressed about that. We have to do what we have to do. The results is in God's hands.
Yeah.
There's nothing to be stressful about.
Yeah, we had a similar conversation about it. What I really like about this chapter is again that it brings up concepts and fleshes out concepts. It's really not that long of a chapter.
Yes.
But it fleshes out concepts that we've been talking about, where it's not about how can I constantly be in a good mood about everything. It's more so how can I begin from a mindset of gratitude? How can I begin with the mindset of joy? And as life experiences happen to me, how can I get to choose my response to that? I can choose to respond to evil with evil. I can choose to respond with unkindness with unkindness, or I can choose to respond with goodness. I can choose to respond with kindness, and I get to also determine my mood as well. When not your mood, but what do you do when those bad times happen? Do you turtle? Call it turtling, right? You just get in your shell and you're like, all right, well, or do you go, lay down for 2 days about it. You probably feel like you want to, but one of the earliest things we talked about is when, sometimes the solution is the thing that you don't want to do.
Right.
But what is it that's going to make me feel better? I should do that. Even if it is the hardest thing, I can choose to do the thing that is going to feed my soul and allow me to overcome this. And if I don't, then it's not a cosmic conspiracy. It's not someone else's fault. It's that accountability. If I'm in a bad mood today because my wife isn't home and I've fallen asleep on the couch accidentally for a couple of nights and I didn't get enough sleep, well, am I going to blame the person or the thing that set me off, or where were parts of my day or my week that I could have controlled that? And I need to recognize that, and then I move forward. And once you recognize what pieces are yours and what pieces aren't, it's all of a sudden I think it becomes much easier to do the things that we've been talking about for the last 7 episodes.
Yeah. Yes. And I think another thing that brings out of here is I guess kind of following to what you're saying is to use out those moods, even the negative ones, to do things that I guess. So for instance, it gives example here to a yeshiva student who says that he suffers from these mood swings. So first of all, the Rebbe tells him that no big deal. We have mood swings all the time, but use out those negative moods for things that you would maybe not want to use out when you're in a better mood. So for instance, if you're not in a great mood, you're kind of not interested in engaging with others, use that as a time for reflection. Use that as a time for maybe repentance or thinking about bettering your own character. Whereas when you're feeling more happier, don't use that time for reflection, which might take you down anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, think about connecting with others. Think about serving God with joy. So in other words, use those times productively and to your advantage. So, yeah.
Yeah, the idea, the cognitive, there's a whole section on cognitive power, and really what it says is continue to focus on the positive. That we can get bogged down in the negative. It can feel overwhelming, but keep pushing yourself back over to think positive and think good, and it will be good, is the Rebbe's words. And words of affection have a much greater effect than the opposite approach. And I really love that. One of my favorite leader mentors is Bert Cottle, who we lost a few years ago, just a tremendous mayor of Wasilla. And Bert would say, approach determines response. That if you come out with someone with negative, you're going to get negative, and just don't do it. Always find the positive. And I really love that. I think of that often. And like Isaac said, even when I'm grumpy, and I'm feeling, like everything isn't going the way I want it to, and I'm grumbly, I think, okay, that the approach determines response is the same whether I'm talking to my staff, whether I'm talking to my family, whether I'm talking to someone in the community. I got to get a grip. This colors or impacts the whole feeling of my life, and I choose.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are days when I'm challenged to feel blessed. I miss my husband terribly, and figuring out how to navigate days without him, when I have automatic thoughts on a regular basis, are that I should text him something, or he would laugh at that. I should remember to tell him about that later. There are all these thousands of little thoughts that go through my head during the day. And by the end of the day, sometimes I'm frustrated by that inability to have him there. And I have to keep remembering, I choose. I'm the chooser. I choose what I think. I choose what I say. I choose how I manage. What's your choice? And some days I have to be harder on myself than others. because it's more difficult to be positive.
Careful, not too hard on yourself, because otherwise you'll start to get into our next chapter.
Yeah. That was my segue. I tipped my hand early. Dang it.
I think, Rabbi, the paragraph that you were referring to earlier about when your somber self shows up, the second part of that paragraph, I really like how that's said as well. When you're approaching it that way, your mood change is hardly a system malfunction. It is a valuable and constructive opportunity.
That's right.
And sometimes I must drive the people that I talk to crazy. But I'm going to blame my dad, because my dad always did this, is when bad things happen, or my dad's favorite was around patience. You know, we're waiting in line at the whatever, my thing didn't come in the mail. He would always go, "What a fantastic opportunity to practice patience." And you know what they say is don't pray for patience, or God will give you a reason to be patient. If you do that about everything, if you're feeling upset that you didn't, that something didn't go to your way, or you feel like you deserve more in your personal life or your professional life or your home life, what a fantastic opportunity to practice gratitude. Yeah. If you're waiting on something, and why hasn't this thing happened yet? Why haven't I gotten this? Why haven't we done that? What a fantastic opportunity to practice patience. If that person at school or work or the grocery store is just treating you like garbage and throwing everything back in your face, what a fantastic opportunity to practice kindness.
That's right.
And like we've said a couple times now, that opportunity is your choice. You do have the option to be kind to the bank teller that is treating you like you're stupid. You do have an opportunity to be nice to the little old lady that's paying for her groceries entirely in coins and coupons. You have the opportunity to be grateful when you have a loss in, your car breaks down. I could say, we had this little bit ago with one of our vehicles. It's like, oh my gosh, how could we have to replace the rear differential on two separate vehicles? How does that even happen 2 months apart? And I was like, well, at least we have two vehicles. We can keep driving the other one around. At least we can afford to do this. I mean, thank goodness. Otherwise, we would have to buy another vehicle. Well, at least we, have a job that will let us steal one of the My House vehicles to get home that day. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that part. We get to choose. Right. There's a simple beauty to that if you look for those opportunities to choose.
There's a really cool thing in here that I wanted to talk to the rabbi about, because it talks about that in Hasidic philosophy, explains that the universe has a spiritual dimension which is mirrored in the material realm. I'm on page 134. When you conjure up certain thoughts and images in your mind, you are, in effect, introducing and creating that scenario on a spiritual level. Thus, the way you envision the future influences how it actually turns out. When you imagine positive scenarios, you bring them closer to materializing, and the same is true with visions of doom. And
you went back to our last chapter.
Oh, did I?
Yes, but that's okay. I think it's very relevant to bad moods as well.
That's right.
Oh, well, what I love about that is that really, first, how deep is that?
That's right.
I mean, that you're manifesting in the spiritual world what you're visioning. And people ask me about that sometimes. They ask me about, how did I get an appropriation for a $23 million building? And part of the answer was that I had the picture of what I wanted hanging on my wall since 2015, right?
Yes, didn't come easy.
Yes, the picture was right by my desk, and I saw it every single day over and over and over. And I had an idea about what I wanted to build for homeless youth in the community, and on and on and on.
Yeah, they were able to through thinking through thinking the certain way, through having a mindset that creates, that really kind of it brings to manifest what we are thinking about to actually occur in this real world, and which is why by thinking good, by thinking positively, we bring down positive results, but by thinking negatively, we could also cause the opposite. So, and like you said, that's the best example from 2015, having that picture, having that drawing in front of your eyes, always keeping your mind on and eyes on the target.
Yeah.
That's what's actually bringing it into fruition.
Yeah. I'm criticized for that sometimes because I can be, I have a saying that I stole it from Zig Ziglar, but it's the dogs bark, but the caravan moves on.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we'll be in staff meetings and everybody will be in an uproar about something that someone is saying or doing, or there's this or there's that. And I always just try to say the dog barks, but the caravan moves on. We are on a mission. We are not subject to anyone else's scrutiny on this mission. This is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And it's very powerful. And I think about Elie Wiesel, The Man's Search for Meaning, the book about being a Holocaust survivor.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks in there about the power of that. Like the people who survive horrific life experiences are ones who visualize what their next thing is, what they want it to be like, not where they are, but where they want to be.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
And it's so interesting to me that our day-to-day mood and how we mitigate that just contributes to that in a big way.
Yeah.
And you'll never get if you're not visualizing, if you're not making the choice to I think I was having this conversation with someone, I can't remember why, but about, if we just made the decision to be kind or smile to every single person that we met on our Saturday at the grocery store. We went to the grocery store, we went to the bank, we went to this thing, and then we came home. If all those people that we, had that brief little minute interaction with saw kindness coming out of us or reflected out of us, how many people's days or weeks or months or lives would be changed through that positivity, which I kind of think is really parallel in concept to why we have the arc here. But again, can't get too high, can't get too low. If someone is giving you, at the grocery store and the checkout lady's being really mean to you for no reason, well, what the heck? Why is she being so mean to me for no reason? That's brutal. I'm going to complain about that to my wife as soon as we get to the car, because that was really silly. That will not change that person's day. That will feed that person's day. That will feed my day if I respond to that negativity by then continuing to perpetuate it. And maybe that person will be just as upset and mean-spirited regardless of what you do. That's their choice. Right. But you have the opportunity not only to break the cycle with yourself, you can help someone else break the cycle as well, which is a tremendous responsibility, I think, to be the people that go out there and see evil, see unkindness, see discontent and fear, and be a part of the solution rather than a part of those cycles, which I think is a lot of what we do here with our clients.
That's right.
Rabbi, you talked about the feeling with the 6,000 people that you were together with in New York, and the mood.
Mm-hmm.
The what was the word that you used? That it was
paradise, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it was paradise, and that the feeling was so positive, overwhelmingly positive. Yes. And that doesn't always happen to people in New York, right? Sometimes people go to New York and it's not always overwhelmingly positive.
Yes. Yeah, some people are Mets fans.
Right?
Yes.
Or feel like the stinking Yankees should not be able to buy the World Series.
Yes.
Not that I'm a baseball fan, but
Yes.
That might be sacrilege on this podcast. We should stop making fun of New York baseball teams.
yeah.
I actually have two members of our community who every Saturday they come for Shabbat, which, by the way, for anyone Jewish, they would do going to the bank and to the shopping on a different day of the week. Not
Yes, sorry.
only for
Thank
no. Most people it's fine, but just for, so they come every Saturday to services, and if I'm not watching, they start having debate about the two different teams that they each one support differently.
That's
Yes,
funny.
and they do it quietly because they know it's not really that appropriate.
That's awesome.
Sometimes they really have no choice. They have to run. They have to hide behind something. So
right. Whisper.
yeah. I'm sorry, I just cut you off.
Yes,
yeah.
I interrupted.
No. I was just thinking about as far as the one of the takeaways was when your somber self shows up, you can use that appearance of that somber self for a deeper reflection. But one of the things that I enjoy doing is that when I have that feeling of paradise and the energy that goes with that, is to just close my eyes and take a deep breath and remember this is temporary, right?
Right.
It's fleeting, and approaching ways to create a mood change that is more constructive. Not that I don't think that a negative mood can be constructive, because I do think sometimes you have to go there to sort of exercise those feelings, right? You feel it and let it go, and feel it and let it go, and then you get a little peace out of that. But there are so many things that I appreciate about that they talk about that has to do with your spiritual base and some of the constructs, and the teaching from this book I think is so practical.
Yes,
it's just practical.
That's
you
right.
know?
It's really a guide for life.
It is. That's a fun thing about this book.
Yes.
I mean, you can tell that I love the book, right? It's tabbed all over. But part of what I love is that it's practical suggestions for this is what you do. It isn't sort of some, I have 2 degrees in psychology. It isn't sort of the esoterical stuff. It's practical.
Right.
It's knowledge, wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this chapter is really about, I think that it's very practical for how we show up for others. And what excites me about our conversation that we will have in a couple of weeks is that I think that the next chapter, on top of, there's some pieces that directly relate to this, but I think that there is a lot of really positive things for individuals right now, especially individuals like myself that struggle with this aspect of self-criticism. And so as much as I spent this chapter talking about how we can show up for others, I think that it will be an opportunity for me to learn and listen to how we show up for ourselves, which is also important.
Yep, I agree. Looking forward.
Yeah. As we wrap up, Rabbi, do you have any parting thoughts that you feel like are important that you would like to share today?
I think just as you were talking a lot, try to be as much positive as possible. And when we have those negative moods, remember that there is a purpose for that too, and it's not there forever. It's going to move away. Just accept it, recognize it's part of who we are, and try to make the best out of it.
Nice. Isaac, parting thoughts?
Don't get too high, don't get too low. Get pucks deep, get pucks to the net, try to win some hockey games.
Oh,
There you go.
Gosh, the hockey. Well, thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
The Liberating Effect is recorded in the My House studio. Ozzy Keener is our editor, and that's all the time we have for today. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.